Hello guys, welcome back. Guess what? Researchers found a link between handheld screen time and speech delay. Check it out. I will try to link to it in the description box. If I can't, I will put the reference there so you guys can go try to find it on your own. This research came out of the University of Toronto and it was done by Dr. Catherine Birkin and it was published in May of this year, 2017. They wanted to know, is handheld screen time associated with speech delay in infants? To answer their question, they did a practice-based research. What that means is that they did it in an actual clinical setting rather than doing it at the lab. And they looked at 894 kids between the ages of 6 months and 2 years old. And what they found was that by 18 months, 20% of the kids are spending on average 28 minutes on handheld screen devices. And they found that for every additional 30 minutes that kids spent on it, there was an increased risk of speech delay of 49%. But it's very important to note that speech is the only thing that was delayed. Other areas of communication, like social behavior, were not affected by the use of screens. But what does that mean for us parents? Well, first and foremost, and I guess the most obvious implication of this research is that we need to limit the amount of time that our kids spend on these devices, especially early on while they're infants and toddlers. If we can, we should stop the use of them altogether. Now, you can be sure that I will definitely be using the iPad if we go on a long trip. And there are times where these devices can be really great tools for parents. The main thing I feel is just you can't make it a habit. Making this a habit will likely put your kid at an increased risk for speech delay. Another thing that we should know is that the device itself is not causing the delay. So what could be the cause of this delay? What's likely happening is that while your child is on the handheld screen, they're not getting the right kind of stimulation that they need for language development. What they really need is to talk to humans, hear humans talk back to them, see people talking and interacting, and that is what's missing when they're using those devices. And sure, some of those games and shows can give you some type of feedback. Sometimes they ask kids to do certain things, but if they don't have the language base to understand what the show or the game is asking them to do, they're not going to be able to reply. And if they do the wrong thing, the show or the game is likely not going to correct them and show them the appropriate action, like you would if you were interacting with them. Another important thing for us to keep in mind is that the first 2 years, not 1, 2. First 2 years of life is where kids are developing their language. They go from having none to all of a sudden talking and having conversation with you. So this is the most important time where they need the language stimulation. So this is the time that we need to be talking to them the most. And it's likely the time we're talking to them the least because we're not getting any feedback from them, and so it's not reinforcing for us to talk to them as much as we can at that period of time. I'll explain that in another chat. So today's action step is to do your best to reduce handheld screen time as much as you can for your kids. I want to know, what are some topics that interest you? Let me know in the comments section and I'd love to talk more about it. As always, thank you so much for watching, and if you found this helpful, please share with a friend and don't forget to subscribe. This is your life. Own it. Peace!